Welcome to the Moto Marketing Podcast, presented by RacerX, the podcast for moto industry professionals, entrepreneurs, and riders. If you want to grow your brand and business in today's digital-first world, you have to know how to turn a stranger into a fan, turn a like into a customer. You have to know how to turn attention into dollars. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you in the know on real marketing tactics that work in the moto world so that you grow your business and help grow the sport. Get ready to learn from the very same marketing experts trusted by RacerX, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, GNCC, and NBC Sports. They'll help you navigate the world of digital marketing for your moto brand. This is the Moto Marketing Podcast. Presented by RacerX.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nesler. Appreciate you guys tuning in today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to us on iTunes. I appreciate it. I want to tell you about the promotion that RacerX has going on right now. Pretty sweet deal. It's a package worth up to $2,500. If you go to racerxonline.com/moto marketing, you can enter to win a set of Method race wheels and Maxxis tires. Again, worth up to $2,500. You also get 12 collectible 2021 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross event stickers. I got mine in the mail last week, and it's always cool to just have those. I have them displayed in my office from the last several years. So yeah, you can get a set for yourself. racerxonline.com/moto marketing. We've got a really cool guest today with just a super innovative product, probably one of the most innovative products in the sport, in my opinion. Somebody that I was excited to have on, we got Kibby Pollak from, he's the founder of MyPitBoard, and man, I'm just excited to kind of dive into the story behind this product, and it's just cool. If anybody hasn't seen it, we'll obviously talk about where they can go buy it, where they can check it out at, but man, I appreciate you coming on and joining us today for the show.
No, thanks, Luke. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah. So I guess if you had to give me an elevator pitch and I had no idea what your product or your company was, how do you explain the product that you have invented?
Yeah, so pretty much the elevator pitch is that essentially we invented a real-time feedback tool that does lap times, segment times, whole shot times, as well as section times, and everything is there real time, all GPS based on your handlebars, so that when you're on the track, you can get a quick look down and get that real time feedback to see how you're doing. And yeah, that's pretty much the 2-sentence elevator pitch. And so yeah, all battery operated. The timing accuracy is to 0.1 seconds. Any outdoor track, you can use the device. You just go to wherever you want on the track and you set that virtual finish line or segment line, so however you want to do your breakdown or training session. And yeah, you get your real-time feedback right on the bars, and then you have some more detailed analytics once you're done your moto. So that's pretty much the product, what it is today. And, we have a lot of interesting things moving forward, but, we can just talk about MyPitBoard if you want to hear that story. So
yeah. I mean, man, so your product is right for a lot of people. Like when I kind of envision who it's for, it's the guy that might not have somebody to hold a traditional pitboard, like a mechanic at a race, whether it's a pro, a privateer, or an amateur racing a big or a small local event. But it sounds like, I mean, anybody can use this even as a training tool. Yeah, I mean, it's genius. Like, it's right in front of your face. The industry standard is the most old, antiquated thing I've ever seen. Like, I don't know do these riders actually know what the hell is written on these pit boards? Like, you're not going to read my handwriting, and I'm almost like, how come this isn't something that more companies are doing or everybody has on their bike? It just makes so much sense. So as far as who you're seeing use this product, I mean, are you like a privateer lifesaver for the guy that doesn't necessarily have somebody to hold a pit board? Like, who are you seeing really latching on to this thing?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's really hard to, we're still trying to establish that brand and establish the product, and it's similar to your thought, as in, the old way is so just it's so ancient and I can't believe nothing has really even fixed this. And I thought that, everybody would jump on it right away. And it's been, it's been hard to bring the product into market. One, because it's the first time I've ever brought a product into market personally. And so the adoption I thought would be more out of the pros that I saw, like your privateers that don't have the mechanic. And, we do see a good portion of our customers that are pretty much like privateers in that sense. But a lot of those guys, are really looking for sponsorships and stuff like that. But I feel like the pros in the industry are a little bit, I don't know what the term would be inelastic. So, hey, here's this tool and they've never trained with it before. And they're like, I don't know if I should get it. Like it just seems like it's really inelastic. And, what we're seeing a lot more amateurs that are buying it. And even a lot of like your weekend warrior crowd, the guys that just love to go to the track and just, spin laps. Those guys are absolutely loving the product. And, they're getting their buddies to buy it. And, one of the things that, it's a huge performance boost for when people use that. Like we're seeing people drop on average around 2 to 5 seconds, especially in your weekend warrior guys, you're really getting like 5 seconds more to lap time, which is, that's just the gains of just having that real-time feedback. But it's mainly the weekend warriors, seeing a lot of amateurs. But again, we're still establishing ourselves in the industry and still building the brand and still, we need the capital to go to the races and amateur events. But when we do go to amateur events, we pretty much sell out a product. So I'd say a lot of the amateurs is right where our window is we're getting at now currently. So
as far as this is a great question for you and your company because this is called the Moto Marketing Podcast, so we try to talk a little bit about that. You've got an interesting road to hoe, I guess, lack of a better way of putting it, because we are in an industry that when people kind of get into the routine, like you just said, they're inelastic. Like it's hard to get somebody to change up what they've always done. And here you've created kind of a better mousetrap. What are some of the ways that you've experimented with, or that you found, hey, this works really well, or maybe doesn't work really well, to educate the market, whether it's in Canada, which for those that don't know, that's where you're located at, or in the US? Like, what are some of the things you've tried, be it, influencer stuff, or just what you're doing on social, or, making sure your website is, buttoned up top to bottom? Like, what are some of the things that you have tried that you're doing now to explain this innovative tool to, people that are kind of set in their ways?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And it's something that, we're still, it's been really challenging because pretty much when we first took this product to market, like we got hit with COVID pretty much right away. Right. So, and before that, when we were exploring the prototypes with the beta products initially, the best way to really get the product out there and see the value in it was actually going to the track and letting people demo it and use it. Yeah. And so unfortunately in Canada, the rules were a lot more stricter in COVID and things were shut down for a lot longer. And let alone we only have, 8 months of actual rideable weather here. So, and it also made it challenging to go to the States. But for me, what I found was the best way is to actually go do demo days. And so something moving forward, especially in the spring of next year, I'll be going down to Florida, going down to California, and just wanting to do as many demo days and letting people just use the products. And that's pretty much my strategy moving forward. Now, in terms of like influencers and stuff like that, we've really tried, like a lot of the pro athletes who've seen it have reached out to us and wanted the product. But I'm not sure if there's some, like we're really good in the Canadian side because I pretty much, most of my career started in the Canadian motocross side with Tyler Medaglia being a mechanic in that pro series. And so a lot of the Canadian pro athletes were super, super supportive. And they were helping on that influencer, but compared to like your US athletes, they're a little bit more, micro in that sense. Sure. So they really helped try to promote the product, but I don't know, some of the things is, sometimes they have deals with rental, for example, and they have to use their rental products, which makes it even more challenging because, they can't be running the branding on our product. And so, but in terms of like social media posts and stuff like that, it's really hard for like the influencer strategy. You know, how many people, like if they go ahead and do one post, how many people are actually going to be like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then,
Sure.
you know, like how much momentum is that influencer going to create? You know, you need, and so Tyler Medallia actually is one of the co-founders of the company with myself, where we originally started it. And so he's been like, he uses this product religiously. Obviously there could be a little bit of bias. So, but you know, he's can't ride without it, and he posts about it all the time. And so having someone like him that's constantly using it, constantly showing the value, you know, is a lot better than like a one post influencer campaign. So we do get like influencers that come to us. We're like, oh, you know, we can give you the product if you don't mind helping us out and promoting it, because we're a new company. But again, like the one post or the one story really doesn't carry that momentum and prove the value of that product. Sure. And, you know, if you have 100,000 followers at any given post time, how many, you know, people are actually viewing it? Like,
yeah.
Is it 5%, 10%?
Man, I think something that you should maybe consider is being on the offense a little bit with picking and choosing who you think would be a good fit for the brand and approach them. Like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, the Jeff Walkers of the world that, you know, they're a privateer. Any support they can get, they'd appreciate. And the way Jeff does his stuff, and Jeff's been a guest on this show very early on. I think he might have been like in the first 10 episodes of the show. You know, all of his vlogs and things like that, and he has a really good relationship with Polar because of how he showcases how he uses the product, as opposed to, it doesn't come off like an ad, because I know what you're talking about. If they post about it once, that is only so effective and for so long. But for people that create specific types of content that I'm watching and interacting for longer periods of time, like a vlog, someone like Jeff might be a good fit. So, and we've done this with, you know, with clients of ours, to where, you know, we'll say, hey, I think this influencer, or really it's kind of getting a negative connotation around the word influencer, this content creator would be great for you. So, and there's people that aren't even pros that I think would be great. A great opportunity for you to reach out. You know, there's a family, a Moto family. It's a dad and his 3 kids that ride. And his vlog is called Vlog Epicness, and it's a dad, and he's got a daughter and I think 2 boys. And their content is real and it's organic, and he's done some partnership work with people like FMF. You got somebody like Dio, who has been on the show multiple times. He's not a pro, but he's got a big following. You find people like that really see value in a relationship with a company like you, and they're not necessarily always looking for the dollar. Someone like that would be stoked to get your product, and I think there's a ton of value for you as a brand in it, at least to test. You test with people like that and you see what works and what doesn't. Then you kind of build a model that you're like, okay, I can actually justify paying somebody $1,200 a month for this if they're doing these things and checking these boxes. So it might be something to kind of look into. Like, you definitely have something cool enough and innovative enough for you to be on the offense and approach brands that, or influencers or personal brands that you think would be a good fit for MyPitBoard. And just experiment with it. It might be something that actually works out, because I like the demo day idea too. I mean, there's no better way for somebody to really fall in love with your product than to try it. So, question. So you'd mentioned something, you know, as far as like some people can't, you know, necessarily, they love the product, but they have deals with Renthal or whatever. Have you had conversations or thought about having conversations with, you know, the Renthals, the Pro Tapers, even the Phoenix handlebars, and whoever of the world, and doing some type of co-branding pad so that your branding's on there, but at the same time theirs is as well for sponsorship? Is that just not something that you would be interested in? Because I found your comment about that kind of interesting. I never even thought about that being an issue for a rider.
Yeah. So, so I actually have some good stories there, but so just to backtrack about the personal brands, I completely agree with you on that, and I think that's going to be one of the things that, you know, we're going to really focus on moving forward. And
Sure.
Epicness actually just reached out to us to do a partnership.
Really?
So
Cool.
So we're going to set up a meeting. So that's great. Yeah, and
tell them I mentioned
really
that on the podcast. We've done some work with them.
Yeah.
I've tried to introduce them to some clients, so I know those guys Brandon pretty well. And I think they'll do good work for you.
Yeah, and so, you know, a guy like Joel Evans, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's in Australia, and he brought the MyPitBoard brand over there, and that's pretty much the style of work he's done, and it's done really, really well. And so that's something that I see as definitely a good strategy moving forward, and something we'll try. So
yeah,
no, thank you for the advice. So in terms of your other question and with regards to partnerships, so I did originally I've talked to Renthal, I've talked to ProTaper. I'm now talking to ODI right now. And I'll give you the background story with what happened. So when I originally talked to Renthal, the product was still in a early, I would say, beta, like we were just getting ready for market, but the product was a lot bigger than what it was today. Like now it's pretty much the size of a Renthal fat bar pad, a little bit smaller, but before it was quite a bit heftier. And that's why we call it VM 1.2, is because that was one of the things we noticed right away, was to try and reduce the size. And so, a lot of their feedback was they wanted to see pretty much further progress, and that the product wasn't quite there yet at the time, which I agree with, and they have they are probably one of the most well-established brands in the space. So, but I definitely see it as a good partnership opportunity, moving forward. But they also need to look at it, like what kind of value does it provide to them? Like, are they going to resell it under the Renthal brand, because they go through distribution channels into end dealers, right? So how much margin is there for them? How much margin is there for us? Is kind of the scenario, and so it's all pretty valid points, and so that kind of makes it challenging, and so it needs to be a co-branding. I feel like this, if we were to work together, it would be a branding in terms of innovation, kind of brand building exercise with Renthal, just because they don't actually own the distribution network. They make deals with distributors for like global distribution. And the other one was ProTaper. So I first reached out to Renthal, and because I grew up around, like, Renthal was the product that had the better brand name for myself personally. And then so the next one I talked to was Renthal, and I had a lot of really good discussions with Renthal. I mean, they had the product, they were testing it. I actually flew down, because they're owned by Tucker Rocky, so I flew down to have a discussion with the people involved around ProTaper and the Rocky off-road product brands. And the idea was, because Tucker Rocky is essentially they own the distribution channel, and ProTaper is one of their products.
Right.
So their margins are a lot better off, and they have more room to negotiate here. So from the business aspect, it seemed like, it was more of an opportunity for them other than just a brand building exercise.
Okay.
And so their initial reaction is that, even though the Renthal to ProTaper discussion was probably 6 to 8 months. And so we came out with version 1.2. And so we were further along. And the discussion kind of ended off as, they still want to see further progress. I think they're looking for connectivity in our product, trying to get that Bluetooth with the app that we're currently building and we're going to launch next year. But yeah, so, definitely interested, but they just want to see some further progress, which is, it's fair. So for us, we've got to just do some more work to close. And, those are really, really big brand names in the industry. You can't really, and like we just started the company as new tech, we're still ironing out some things at the time, and still trying to work on getting like scalable manufacturing and all these other things. So, closing a big partnership with them would be game changing for us, and the question is, are we ready and are we mature enough? And so, but I think the other brands like ODI and the Mika and all them, those are guys that I think will be, good stepping stone into getting into those other partnerships, or, whether it's just an exclusivity and it works really, really well with those guys, then, that would be a great opportunity. And I think for them, the branding side, this would help give them the edge over like your established brands like, ProTaper and Renthal that start getting more market share. So really, really interesting, scenario. And I've thought about it and going after it. And yes, right now, I wanted to go one at a time. I don't want to like go after everybody and say, hey, I want to. And so I think ODI, they seem pretty interested. So we'll see what they say moving forward. But the guys there seem pretty cool, and
no doubt,
they seem really interested.
Yeah,
so,
it's interesting. I mean, man, there's. Look, I feel like you've opened a can of worms that, like, as you further develop your product and make it better, you just mentioned an app. Like, I mean, man, I just don't. You literally have a bar pad in front of you that was like the perfect spot for data to be on, all the way back to like when the freestyle guys would write their run down on their bar pad. Like, it's always been this like premium space that was never really utilized, and you're utilizing that space now. And I think it's something that, if I had to guess, just kind of, I've looked at the product multiple times and I obviously understand what it is. I don't see how in the next 5 to 10 years every pro is not using something like this, using your I mean, just it just doesn't make sense to not. Like, you can have that information right in front of you, and as you continue to develop the technology behind it, I think it's, so I think brands like ODI and Renthal and ProTaper, I think that'll be cool to see some type of collaboration rollout in the future. Hey, real quick, I want to say thanks to a couple of folks that support the show. Obviously, Randy Richardson and all the guys and gals at Michelin. You know them for their motorcycle tires, but they also make killer bicycle tires. The Michelin E-Wild series, the Pilot series for those BMX fans out there, just really solid tires. It's actually where Michelin started in 1891. Their first tire was a bicycle tire. So be sure to check them out on Instagram at Michelin Bicycle. And then my company, Impact Results. This show wouldn't be possible without a couple people, Racer X, and then obviously Impact is who pays the bills. So look, I mean, online shopping is at an all-time high. Kibby sells his product online. We work with brands like FMF, like Seven, Arma Sport, the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Series, and what we help them do is sell more of their product online through digital marketing strategies. So social media, search, SEO, web design, email marketing, etc. If that's something that you have questions about or need help with, or want to pick my brain about, you're more than welcome to. You can visit us at thinkimpact.com. It's thinkimpact.com. And we'd appreciate it. We got Kibby Pollak from founder of MyPitBoard with us today. Man, I'm just super intrigued by the product. I've always found it cool. I think a lot of it is rooted in the fact that I'm a data nut. Like, I'm an avid cyclist. I've got power meters on my bike. I've got speed sensors, cadence. I've got everything possible. I just like to see where I'm at on a given ride and look at my data and be able to tell me where am I improving. And I think that's why I'm so enthused about what you are building, is because it gives you that on a motorcycle. So I should ask you this off the top. How old is the company? When did you start MyPitBoard?
So the ideas were forming around 2016, but the actual company started in 2019. So
wow.
Or June of 2019. So we're actually just over 2 years old now.
And you've not even gotten one full normal year in. June of 2019, and then we hit 2020, and I still don't know what's happening, right? So you don't even have a full regular year of life under MyPitBoard, and it's doing well. So it's super young. So if you're, what does that make you, 2 years old, you said? Years?
Yeah, just about 2 and 2 months, I think.
Yeah. So I would say in actuality, you're you got a good 6 months of regular world time under your belt. So you're killing it, considering that you've gone through almost a year and a half of a pandemic. What are you most excited about? I mean, obviously you talked about some potential partnerships with bar manufacturers. I think that's exciting, but I know that you don't seem like a guy that just kind of rests on your laurels and sits still. So what's coming that you're able to talk about that kind of gets you excited?
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of exciting stuff. I mean, I'm pretty much a nerd, so I'll admit it, and I love working in the tech, and so it was only natural that these I love motocross, I love cycling, I love e-bikes, I love everything, and I love tech, so it was only natural this kind of this thing came to life, and so I'm pretty lucky and thankful that I had the ability to actually go do this and the knowledge. So, what's next is there's a lot of cool things coming, and the app that we're building, I'm super excited about. We've finished the UI, the UX of the design. Man, it's going to be game changing, and it's going to be for more than just the moto market. I want to be able to build it so that, this device can in the future work for e-bikes and, cycling, moto, and whatever other kind of racing, and I can't really. I'd love to give you
I can
hints
tell
about the
I
app.
was gonna say it feels like you're holding back a little bit. So,
Yeah,
and I respect
yeah.
that. Yeah, don't share more than what you feel like you can at this time. That is cool though. So I mean, the app. Any idea when that might be available or when you can start talking about it?
Yeah. So it would probably, I would say, in like early Q2 of next year. So
Cool.
yeah, that's really what we're shooting for. And, we're shooting for also the next and greatest device. So we're really working on shrinking down the device, like keeping the same screen size, but because we found that, in Moto, it's such a fast paced environment that like a smaller screen just makes things harder to look at. So
Sure.
that screen size that we have today, I think is the perfect, perfect size for your everyday, like from your pro to your weekend warrior guy. But just shrinking down the device, making more of a beautiful design, the user interface on the device as well. Getting a lot of inspiration from like Apple products and how they have to close the rings. So really adding some cool features to get people more engaged with the product. I mean, people are like, love the product, and the guys who I've gotten a lot of amazing feedback and they can't ride without it, but I just want to add that more, like it gives you that more drive now. And I really want to elevate the product because again, it's only been 2 years and I've learned a lot through this whole process and talking to people at the track, getting feedback, what they want, what they like. So yeah, really trying to address those into, launching a better product next year around the Q2 timeframe. So
you kind of talking about the technology, and you even mentioned Apple, gives me a silly idea, but I think it's one that you actually could make work. When Apple unrolls a new product, they've got this like iconic way of rolling it out. It started with Steve Jobs, and he always had the same outfit on, and like he does it on a stage and he shows it, and they still do that to this day. You almost could do a MyPitBoard version of that and kind of make that your own. There's nobody else in the industry, no brand that could try to imitate and spoof that concept, because there's really no tech company in the space to the capacity that you are. Like, you've got the ability to potentially update and have new cool features roll out year after year. That might be something to consider, man. You dress up like Steve Jobs, you do your own you do your own YouTube live stream and spoof the whole Apple product unveil. Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah, actually, someone brought that up to me, and I said, you know what, there isn't really anyone in this space that's really done this, and maybe this could be a cool collab between you and I for when we get closer.
Yeah, we'll
to
have
that
you down
day
to the
and say,
studio, man. We'll have you come down to the Impact studio. We got a green screen to my right. Yeah, we got the capacity to do that. So that, and we're close to High Point, so we might be able to line something up with Racer X. We should talk about that. That would be cool. As soon as you're able to travel, can you even leave the country right now and get back in?
So technically I'm not allowed, but I'm fortunate. I'm a dual citizen, so I just use my U.S. passport.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's cool. So I guess as we kind of wrap things up, where can people find the product? Just mypitboard.com. Is there an Instagram account? Where would you recommend people go?
Yeah, so really, we're really active on Instagram. So at MyPitBoard, and if you want to purchase the product, unfortunately because of COVID and the shit show of the supply chain, we're back ordered, and so mypitboard.com to pre-order and get your reservation in for September. We already have a series of we have tons of orders that have come in, so we have a heavy backlog and go visit us, and you might see me at the track, or if you have questions, no one actually knows, but it's my phone number that's on the site. So every customer that calls is actually calling me personally, and so they're surprised when I answer all the questions, and I'm like, no, I want to talk to the customers. I always want to make sure that we're building a great product. So any hesitation about the product, like I said, we're really trying to build a brand and a really great product, and so that's why I'd rather have people come talk to me, and I'll deal with you. And I want to make sure that if you're using the product and you're having issues, I want to know about it so I can address them and learn to what to fix in the next design, or what can we do to fix anything, in terms of that. So just really personal relationship, which I feel like is kind of needed to really start building up the brand and giving that credibility to the product, because it's new, right? So people have every reason to be hesitant, especially with the screen on your bar pad.
Right.
And we do offer, if you do smash the screen, which is not often, we do have a screen replacement plan. So, but yeah, I mean, I think we've got hundreds and hundreds of devices out there, and I think we've only replaced 4. So that's pretty positive.
Yeah. It's man, it's cool. I go to mypitboard.com. I mean, look at some of the athletes that are using this. I mean, and two, like I guess I didn't know what to expect as far as the price, but in my opinion, man, I mean, guys, this is a super affordable product. It comes in just under $300. It's $299, and it's something that you are going to spend money on and genuinely use every single time you ride the bike. So really cool and cool story. I love how innovative it is. I mean, it's all the guests that we've had on here have really cool products, but to have somebody come on that I didn't realize how young it was starting in June of 2019, like for you to do what you've done in that short amount of time and be really innovative. And I think it's good not only, for the sport, but for the customer. So man, I'm looking forward to seeing more in the future. And I definitely think we should talk about some type of collab when you're able to get down here. And if we can help you with any of the production for that kind of stuff, that would be a fun project I'd be interested in doing for sure.
Yeah, let's do it. And no, I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, thank you so much. Awesome. It'll be the sweetest collab ever. I'll give you the ideas, and I think we should. We'll have some.
No doubt. Well, we will. Before we hop off here, we'll chat and we'll line up a time to connect. And again, if you guys are listening to this on iTunes, I appreciate it. Be sure to check it out on YouTube. If you're one of those crazy people that like to watch podcasts, man, we got you covered. And Kibby showed the product a couple of times. He flashed it on screen, so you can check that out as well. And again, be sure to check out racerxonline.com/moto marketing and enter to win a set of Method race wheels or Maxxis tires. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Moto Marketing Podcast. If your goal is to get real, measurable results from your marketing that will grow your company revenue, then check out how Impact Media can get the same results that they have for Moto's most iconic brands by visiting thinkimpact.com. That's THINKIMPAKT.com. Have a marketing question that you want answered on the show? Send your questions to questions@motomarketingpodcast.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast.